All right, guys. Well, welcome to the first of many Apple Home Buyers podcasts. We posted a post on Facebook asking anybody really who is interested in investing in real estate or want to get into it, just kind of common questions, random questions, whatever. So today, I'm going to go through a couple different questions that you guys have asked, and this is basically going to give you a little glimpse of what real estate investing is about and who we are, where we come from, and kind of just get to know us and then just follow us on the journey. And we'll get more in depth as far as what we're getting into, and then we can go into, if you want to do just wholesale, we want to do just sub-2, seller finance, everything. We'll go over it all. We'll try to make podcasts on all just separate individual ones so you guys can come back and watch it, and hopefully
we'll get you investing.
Yep. Okay, so I want to introduce, this is Tanner Milner, and Tanner and I, this is my best buddy right here. I came to Texas in 2015, and I was his first client. Wasn't looking to buy a house, couldn't afford a house, but he got us into a rental, not on market. It was actually off of Craigslist. So I'm telling you, there's different ways of getting properties. So I'll turn it over to Tanner and he'll give you a little info about himself, but this is Tanner Milner.
Yeah, thank you, Travis. I'm glad to actually start the podcast. We've talked about doing this for years and years, and I will have to get comfortable doing this camera stuff. But we'll get there. Well, my background is I started in real estate when I was 20 years old. That was in 2016. And man, my first 6 months, I did 11 homes. So that was like a good deal to do, is what I heard at the time, because I think at the time your average realtor did 4 deals a year. So I did 11 in my first 6 months. Then my first full year, I did 41, then the following year, 47, then 77, then 84, 86. And then last year was like 78. It was a little slower last year. That was 2022, as everybody knows. 2022 was a rougher year for everybody. I've done about 45 flips and looking to do a lot more. Not only flips, but wholesale, owner finances, subject twos. We're looking to transition into doing mostly investing. So we do have a couple questions that I had posted on my Facebook that we are going to go over today. And the first
question is, how do I get my first deal?
Yep. So my question or answer to that would be is, do you want a wholesale or do you want to flip? But I'm just going to base it off of a flip right now. So if you're going to flip, you would want to, there's multiple strategies to do this. I don't recommend as your first deal going out and spending money on marketing. Mm-hmm. What I would recommend is going to wholesalers that are local, that actually find deals and know how to analyze deals, and get a deal from them. Get your first deal, really not spending any money on marketing. A lot of people go in and spend a bunch of money in Google and Facebook, and I mean, that just cuts into your profit on finding your first deal.
Yeah, you probably end up you just spent what you would get in a commission on marketing.
Yeah.
And now you're upside down.
Yeah.
And now you're fighting for the next one.
Your first deal, I would probably say go to a wholesaler. Look at for sale by owners, maybe on Zillow. Find a ran down property, call the homeowner, say, hey, I'm looking to buy this deal. I see that it needs work. We are going to go through how to analyze a deal on another podcast, and that can help you out on seeing if it's a deal or not. And then that's my first, if I was brand new, didn't know how to do anything, I would go in and go to a wholesaler and say, hey, I'm looking to buy in this area. Can you find me a deal?
Okay. So now you have the wholesaler, but now this kind of ties in, obviously, to our next question. So you have different options of how you can go about buying properties. But But if you're looking to invest and do a flip and you don't have the money, this question kind of ties into that. So how does a hard money loan really work?
Good question. So most people can't go and buy a house for $150,000 cash in the beginning.
Nope.
So if you can, great,
Yeah.
great job. You're doing awesome. So, but then you have the rehab. What if it's a $50,000 rehab? So now you're $200,000 into a deal. So you really need to look at a hard money loan, because a hard money loan is essentially cash. So whenever you go to buy a house, you can write an offer with a hard money loan and it would technically be cash. So, and the way you analyze, that's another way you'll analyze a deal. You'll come in and a hard money lender will even give you funds for the rehab, and it's a draw. So once you start the progress of the flip, you'll go do the work. Let's say 1 week goes by and you spend $5,000.
Yeah.
Well, you go ahead and pay that $5,000 up front typically, and then you go to your hard money lender and say, hey, you show them pictures, this is what we did, this is what we've done, I need to get a draw. So that's whenever you'll take a draw on your money. Essentially, the way a hard money works is it's cash, again, but it's a lot more fees. You're typically looking at 10 to 13% on their money, and then you have points. That's another whole deal that we can go into. So when analyzing your deal, goes back to always analyzing the deal, is what is your actual cost whenever flipping this? Because you can go in and buy a house for 150 that's worth 300, needs 50 in work. So you go, great, I'm 200 grand in it. Well, you're going to turn around and spend $16,000 in lender fees. It's just part of the game.
Yeah.
So you've just got to be sure that you're deep enough in the deal to be able to make what you need to make on it.
Good deal. Good deal. All right, next one is this is one that we battle as well, but we've almost realized why they are so good at it. But how do you get ahead of the big corporations like your Open Door, your Redfin, all that stuff? Not Redfin. Orchard. But there's a bunch of different ones out there that are big hedge funds that are buying up everything.
Yep.
And they can because they have the capital to do that. So how do you get ahead of big corporations that are buying up all the inventory?
Well, the prediction was by 2030, big hedge fund corporations are going to own 60% of residential.
Wow.
That's a lot. I mean, that's over
Wow.
50%. So houses are turning into rentals. Every house out there is turning into a rental property. How do you get ahead of them? You beat them. Beat them to the deal. That's really what it is. I do say when we're wholesaling properties off, it is better to sell to the big corporations
Yeah.
because they pay more. Why? They've got the cash to do it.
Yeah.
So rather than us buying a deal or you buying a deal, analyzing your deal, going, oh, well, I've got to be at this number, they've got so much money that it doesn't matter.
So they're not really looking to kill a deal, basically, if it's going to be $5,000, $10,000.
They'll spend retail on it because
Yeah.
they're looking at the long term and holding it as a rental property. So they'll spend retail
Yeah.
on that. That's your Blackstone, I think is who it is. Is it Blackstone? I'm going blank. Yeah.
We'll get back to you on that.
Yeah.
So-
That's your big corporations. You just have to beat them to the punch. That's really what it is, because they're spending a lot in marketing, and you've just got to be the person that gets to the homeowner before them.
That's right. Speed to lead, baby.
But I do say this, they don't buy junkers. They want to buy properties that are typically ready to go, and they've got a criteria of like 1980s and up. Must be a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, no pool.
Yeah.
So
No main streets, no.
yeah, like they have a big buy box criteria.
Yeah.
So I'm not really worried about them. The problem with them is when that property's purchased, they ain't putting it up for sale. It'll never get sold again.
Yeah, no, that just becomes part of their inventory.
Yep.
In the big world of corporation.
Exactly.
This one's a little bit off subject, but I mean, we're going to answer them. So what options do I have with solar panels that are not paid off when selling the home?
We'll make some people mad here.
Yeah, I don't know Maybe it's because I just don't know enough about solar that I
Same.
don't trust it. I've heard people say great things and I've heard people say bad things. Would I put it on my home? I'm not 100% sure.
I would probably put it on my house if we were off grid, like if we're in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And if I ever move out to some land, I'm gonna have solar. I'm gonna have a farm. I'm gonna have everything that I don't have to rely on anybody.
That's right.
So that's where I think solar would come into play. And you'd really not even have it on your house. I would have it on
Yeah, you
just
can put
sitting
it
out
on
in the field.
Yeah, you can put it on your land
So-
at that point.
So my opinion to solar on homes in Texas. This is for Texas. Only, because I know it probably benefits for Florida and California and other places that have a lot of sun all the time.
Yeah.
Where Texas is, I do not think it's a benefit to have solar. It's going to make some people mad. I've got some family members that sell solar, so I don't really care, but that's my opinion. Because when you go to sell that property,
Sorry, Jay.
yeah, when you go to sell that property, the buyer has to assume the loan of the solar. So majority of buyers, when they're purchasing a home, they're already maxed out.
Yeah.
They're already maxed out on what they can afford. And if the solar is another $300 a month or whatever it is, and their debt to income ratio can't fit that, it's a dead deal.
Yeah.
As well as leasing it. Sometimes people don't want to take over the lease. So unless the homeowner wants to pay off the solar,
Yeah.
whenever they go to sell, it's going to be a typical $30,000 to $50,000, maybe even 80, depending on how much you're doing. That's out of your pocket. I mean, you've got to look at
It's a big chunk of change.
the apples to apples in the long run. If unless you're planning to be there for 30 years, the rest of your life, sure you can, but majority of the time, I think a homeowner lives in it for 5 to 7 years.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Okay.
an average homeowner lives in their house for 5 to 7 years.
Okay. Next question is, do I need money to start investing?
No, you do not need any money. There's multiple ways to do this. You could do, as in a wholesale, if you wanted to wholesale a property, that is your easiest way to start getting into real estate investing. You can find a homeowner on Zillow. That is a for sale by owner. You can use Driving for Dollars. You can drive around. There's an app out there that you can drive around and find properties that look ran down, contact the homeowner. This is where I'll have to teach you how to analyze a deal, but you'll have to get them an offer, and then you come to us and you go, hey, Tanner, I got a deal. You've got it purchased for $100,000 and you're willing to sell it to us for $110,000, and you're going to make $10,000.
Yeah.
That's your first way to start getting into real estate without any money.
And I know it sounds crazy, the fact that you're driving around on an app to basically cold call a homeowner just to see if they're looking to sell. I
Yep.
know it sounds crazy, but it actually happens. And
Yep.
you actually close deals like that. So it's huge.
Yep.
You need to use every exit and every entry way that you can to get into it.
Let's talk about exit. We're going to be going over that. There's multiple ways you can look at a deal
Yeah.
whenever you're actually purchasing the property. For instance, if you go to a homeowner and you're looking for a house yourself and needs a little bit of work, and the owner owns it free and clear, and you go, you know what? I don't have any money. I can't get a bank loan. I can't do nothing right now.
Yeah.
You ask the homeowner, will you seller finance it to me? Will they do a seller finance where the homeowner's the bank, and then you make them payments?
Sounds like a good deal. I mean, I would say yes if I'm becoming a bank.
Yeah,
It just sounds appealing, that, or, you take over someone's mortgage, it kind of just takes a little bit off of them. You kind of maybe just answered that question.
well, I'll go into it. Does it really cost? So
Yeah.
that'd be your best way to get into it, is to wholesale. Probably doing Driving for Dollars, going on Zillow, finding for sale by owners. And then once you get a deal under contract with the homeowner, you turn around and you take it to an investor, and you can call me. We do nationwide. So we go nationwide. If you can't find an investor in an area, we
Hey.
can find it for you. So We'll just go in and say, if you got a property in Louisville, Kentucky, and you're like, owner says that they'll sell it to me at this, we'll analyze it, make sure it's a deal for you, and then we'll tell you, hey, we can probably get an investor to purchase it for this, and you can make $500,000 to $100,000 on a wholesale deal.
Yeah, it's
I mean,
wild.
there's unlimited amount of money, just depending on urgency for people to sell. There's multiple ways to look at that, but yeah, you do not need money to start in real estate. If you have it, it's always better, but you don't need it to start.
True. Very true. Next one is, what is the risk when flipping? Mr. Flip?
A lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot of risk.
Yeah. We got a good one. We
2022.
can go into this next one real quick.
Yeah. 2022, I lost $250,000 in flips. That was off of 4 deals. We did 14 deals in 2022. I lost $250,000. One of them alone was 120. And there's a lot of risk. What hurt us there was the market with interest rates. Interest rates went from 2.75% to 7%.
And if you're in the business already, you already know that. Everyone felt that.
Yeah.
Everyone. We're still feeling it.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, no matter what investor, every business out there is hurting a little bit. So,
Yeah.
at least in 2022, they hurt. Yeah. So, I would say there is a lot of risk in flipping. That's why you've got to buy it deep enough. My projections on what's coming is why I'm buying again. Mm-hmm. So I'm buying.
Let me stop him real quick. Sorry. When he says buying deep enough, he means basically when you're buying as an investor and you're basically going to wholesale this or flip it, you need to make sure that you have those margins to flip, or if an investor's coming in so he can flip, because now you have the property and you need to make a little bit of money, and then he needs to make a little bit of money. So when he says going deep into the deal, that means he's getting it at a discounted rate. So I just wanted to clarify that. But most of you guys that are in this business know when we say I got to be a little bit deeper, man. I got to be a little bit deeper. That's exactly what that means.
Yep.
So
let me finish on that. So there is risk in flipping. So you've got to know your rehab numbers. Yeah. Like, I've got contractors that pretty much work for me full time. They should be on a salary, realistically. Where, I can walk in a property and go, and I'm 90% on this. Every time I do a flip, we're within $5,000 of me walking it and saying it's going to cost me $30,000 to rehab this. We might be in it at 33, 35. That's hiccups. You always got to account for $5,000 in hiccups.
Yeah.
The other day, Wildberry.
Yep.
We were about to get ready to list the property. Sent the AC guy out. AC guy says you need a new AC. $5,000.
Just boom, boom.
Did not expect that.
No.
We were already about $4,000 over what we had expected, so that added it, and now we're about $9,000 to $10,000 over.
And the AC was working.
Yep.
It was working when we purchased. So those are just some things that happen.
It happens. There's a lot of risk in flipping, but what you've got to make sure is there an exit to turn it into a rental? Would this area and this house, for instance, I will not buy houses that are 1900 to 1940 because I know the headache. Yeah. I've lost money on those houses, and I do not want to hold them as a rental property.
And why? And get a little bit deeper into that. Why wouldn't you want to buy from 19 to 1940 or whatever it might be?
That's my buy criteria. I do not want to buy in that range because the one I did with one of my buddies, the one and only, was a 1910 historic home in Venus, Texas, on Main Street. We were excited to do it.
Oh, yeah.
Man, we got this rehab, blah, blah, blah. We're going to do this. Our estimated rehab budget was $28,000. That was the contractor walking it. We ended up at $78,000.
Oh, my Lord.
Because wiring, plumbing, just when you get in older stuff, things start to fall apart.
Yeah, just like me. I'm getting older.
So, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're getting up there.
Okay, settle down.
Well, yeah, but I am too. It's all right. So about to hit the 3-0. But when we did the foundation on this one and we started pushing this house, man, it just started breaking everything.
Oh my God.
So that's why if you're in an area, and every time we would do something with this house, there would be more issues. Every time you'd open up a wall, there's more issues. So as an older house, I do not want to have it as a rental because I know that they're going to be calling me constantly saying, this broke, this is broke, this is messed up, and I won't do an old 1940s and under.
Okay.
So that's just my buy criteria.
All right. So moving on. Oh, well, this kind of ties it in. How do you analyze a deal?
We'll have to do a whole nother podcast on this.
Yeah, this is true.
How do we analyze a deal? Simple math. Let's just take it as I'm going to do a full in-depth podcast on this one.
Yeah.
But I'm going to do it as a simple way to look at analyzing a deal. You take the ARV. ARV is after repaired value. That's what you can sell it for retail to retail buyers. Not investors to actual
Yeah.
buyers. You, me, we're going to look for a home and wherever.
Yeah, people that are going
Look-
out and getting loans.
Realtors are showing you
On the
properties
market.
on the market. So you take the ARV, and so what it's worth, your simple times it by 70 to 75%. So you're buying it at 25 to 30% of value. Then you're minusing your repairs. So if it needs 50,000 in repairs, you're going to take out 50,000 on top of the 25 to 30% of what you did.
Okay.
And that's going to be your purchase price. So people think, oh my gosh, a deal's worth 300, I got it for 150 or 175, and you're going to make so much money on it. No.
Not so
Because
much.
you got realtor fees when you sell it, especially if you're not I'm a realtor, so I can take out 3%. But whenever you go have another realtor sell it, so you got a 3% on whenever you're selling it, 3% whenever the buyer's buying it, and you got 1% on your closing costs. So take your ARV, 7% of that is going to be part of your holding cost
Yep.
or selling costs, whatever you want to call it. Then lender fees, then you got your taxes, then you got your insurance, your utilities, and all your rehab.
Those are some things people don't realize.
Yep. They
What's going
think
on?
they think there's a big bankroll, but it's not always.
Those little dollars add to big dollars.
Yep.
Okay. What's your 2024 outlook?
Think it's going to be good.
That's right.
That's why I am buying again. I didn't buy up until 2022. I lost 250. I didn't buy anything until what was it? October of this year.
Yep.
So I've got 3 rehabs going right now. And I think if you look at the deal, the interest rates is what killed everything.
Yeah.
It bought the buyers out of what they could purchase.
Yeah.
So you take my house, for instance, I looked at the numbers. I think my payment's like $1,700 a month. Well, I got a 2.75% interest rate.
Yeah.
And if they were to purchase my home now, their payment was going to be like $3,800.
Woo!
So
Boy.
that's, I mean,
Yeah.
$2,000 more a month for an 8.25% interest rate was insane. But my outlook, they've already come down 2%. So you're seeing low 6s right now.
Yeah.
I think, in my perspective of what I've looked at and what I feel is going to happen with the market, is I think we'll see in the low 5s next year in 2024. What that's going to do is supply and demand. There's still not enough inventory for how many buyers are out
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. We are on a shortage for sure.
But all the people that are waiting for interest rates to come down, it's going to start jacking the price back up. So the supply's kind of there now, but the demand for the housing is going to go back up.
Yeah.
So it's going to drive multiple offers for sellers.
Yeah. People are going to be fighting again.
Yep. I think we're going to see that a lot starting in February. Be careful on buying around the November of next year because it's always a slowdown with election year.
Yeah.
So I'm going to be cautious on what we invest in about 3 months before November.
Really analyzing the deal.
Yep. So it's always, something always happens around that time if you look at the stats.
Okay.
So,
And then last and final question before we part ways is, when is our next podcast?
yeah, yeah. I guess that's going to be up to me, right?
That's why I looked at you.
Well, our ideal thing is to push out one podcast a month, and we're going to push out 3 reels a week. So we're going to be pushing out quite a bit of content, and that's, I would say, follow our reels, and then you'll be able to go and look at our podcasts on YouTube and stuff like that. So you'll be able to follow the actual full video of what we do.
Yeah, and just to give you a little glimpse of what we would be doing on these videos is, yeah, we're going to be giving you all kinds of knowledge and how to analyze a deal and everything like that, but you're going to see us. You're going to see us on the phone with sellers
Yep.
closing it up. And, you know, I know it sounds crazy when you're on the phone, you haven't even seen the property. You're just talking to this person. Yesterday, I was on the phone for 12 minutes. Full shebang from answer to sign, 12 minutes. It's nuts to think about, but that's what you're going to see. And it's interesting. It gets you fired up. And I mean, you're going to see this office get real fired up. There's lots of gongs going on. We bang loud. We make lots of noise, and we hype everybody up, because that's what it always is.
Everybody wins. Not
Yes.
one person in our office wins. We all win.
Yeah, exactly. It's a group effort, and that's exactly how we want to, one, reach out to you guys, because as investors, a lot of people give us a bad name, and it's not really that we're bad, it's the fact that people just don't understand.
That goes back to analyzing the deal.
Boom.
Like, people think you just lowball me. No, we didn't just lowball you. We did it based on what we can make on the deal. And a lender, for instance, a hard money lender, is typically loaning at like a 75%. It has to be at 75%, a hard money lender.
Yeah.
So some of them will do 80. That's very few, far in between, but
Yeah, it better be pretty clean at that point.
yeah, so, I mean, we can just kind of go an off-the-record, on-the-record deal. What we're going to mainly, our reason for the podcast is to help people get into real estate.
Yep.
Or if they have a deal that they need help with, we can help them get it moved.
Yeah.
And we will be doing a lot of wholesaling. On our next podcast, we'll have Ryan here. He's on vacation right now.
Yeah.
So if you're watching, Ryan, hello, buddy.
Hi, buddy.
We will be going into depth on what's your exit strategy, how to analyze a deal, when to know which exit to go. It's just going to be all of those few, far in between, and how you should actually look at real estate investing.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, we want to make a presence. I've done a lot in my 8 years of career, and I want to help others. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
funny
that's how I feel too.
it's funny when people are like, "Why are you willing to help me?" I'm like, dude, everybody's got to win.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all about helping people.
We gotta start helping each other, and we gotta start being nicer to each other. It's world's turning in a dark way, and
Yep.
we need to start looking out for each other and really help people along the way, because you'd be surprised how much just a little bit of help will help someone. You know, it might be life changing.
Yep.
You know, so I guess we'll wrap it up for now.
Our next podcast will be over really who we are. We'll go into depth of our backgrounds and how we've done things and where we've gone. And then after that, we may ask more questions, but I think this was our Facebook questions that people asked for.
Oh,
our first one.
we can keep you busy for months.
Ryan's upset he's not on the first podcast. That's why we're not going into super depth.
Yeah, we can't leave him out. He's
Yeah.
a big part of this team.
Yep.
He is definitely a rock of this team. So
Yep.
we'll go ahead and cut it for now, and
Yep.
we will see you guys soon. And I have something that I always say, but make it a great day or not, the choice is yours.
Boom.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.